Thank you, Mamuka, and I would like to welcome all of you. I would like to welcome business community, representatives of U.S. Business sector and also Georgia business sector, heads of representations of international financial institutions. I am very glad that we are celebrating several very important events. This year marks 25th anniversary of U.S.-Georgia diplomatic relations. United States was one of the first to recognize Georgia's independence after collapse of the Soviet Union, and the United States has been existential for keeping Georgia going in the right direction. And we are very grateful for U.S. consistent position on supporting Georgia's foreign policy aspirations, territorial integrity, and sovereignty. I would also like to emphasize a very special role America-Georgia Business Council has in promoting U.S.-Georgia relations, and not only economic cooperation, but also political cooperation. I would like to thank Mamuka Tsereteli for his exceptional role in promoting U.S.-Georgia partnership, and I would like to congratulate all of the stakeholders of this very important organization for this very important anniversary for all of us. Well, 25 years, as you said, Mamuka, it was important to bring the country from ravages of the civil war to the state where we are today, and we consider ourselves not a post-Soviet country without any offense to any other countries, of course, but we would like to bring a new perception of this country as an Eastern European country. This is an Eastern European country not only in our perceptions, but also according to many criteria we can bring in front of you. And these are criteria for democracy development of the country. These are criteria for economic dynamism this country has. And this is a criteria of also reflecting consistency of this country going to the right direction. And we did transform ourselves from a country which was, according to many indicators, very typical, with high corruption rates, with low grades of doing business ranking, and also with many other criteria as a typical post-Soviet country. And today we can pride ourselves on having very good indicators. We are a country with one of the easiest doing business rankings. I believe that you have gone through all these indicators during this celebration of the, again, 20-year celebration. But I would like to highlight something more important. With its problems of territorial integrity violation, with occupation, and with security issues, Georgia tries to present itself with different optics as a country of opportunities. Of course, challenges are there, they remain to be there, and we need to cope with all those challenges, but at the same time, we need to strike a right balance between presenting a country which still needs intensive help from our strategic partner, but also the country which presents opportunities for regional expansion for the U.S. companies, and country which is a connection between East and West, but not a simple liaison between East and West, but a country, a partner of Western world which is ready to present itself as a gateway for access to the Eastern world. This is very important as we have a lot of projects coming from these new initiatives, such as, for example, the One Belt, One Road initiative coming from China, the new Silk Road reconstruction, and projects connected with this initiative, such as reconstruction of infrastructure, building of new ports, expansion of existing ports, etc., etc. So this is very important as we would like to cultivate more and more this perception of stable Georgia, reliable Georgia, legible Georgia, the country which is a partner for business community and which is a predictable partner and reliable partner. I would like to touch very briefly the 4-point reform agenda that was mentioned by Mamuka. And this is a plan which is committed to bring Georgia to a qualitatively new stage of development. In 4 years, and it's been already 1 year that we started this project, the project is designed, the reform plan is designed to bring transformational impact in strategic areas, such as overhauling the education sector, getting rid of the Soviet legacy in higher education, no longer producing unemployed people by educational institutions, making more emphasis on professional education, to create a strong link between employment and education, introducing German, Swiss, Austrian dual education model to learn and study together with the partnership with the private sector together, and also introducing new technologies in secondary education, such as distant learning methods for secondary schools in distant parts of the country. And for that, we are building the optic fiber network throughout the country. And in 1.5 years from now, more than 2,000 villages and small towns will be equipped by optic fiber internet, high-speed internet, which will give us a chance to bring best quality teachers to the distant villages of the country. One of the important directions of our 4-point reform agenda is governance reform. And for that, we initiated 2 main directions. One is service-oriented government concept, and we are developing single window services for not only individuals, which already exist in public service halls in Georgia, but also for legal entities and for companies, so that any legal entity will be able to obtain any service rendered by government institutions in one physical space and also under one e-governance platform. For that, we are not only creating a representative office of all government offices, but we are removing the front offices from all government entities which are currently rendering any services to the business entities, and we are locating them under one roof and again under one e-governance platform. This is a revolutionary reform which also entails a lot of optimization and improving of the efficiency of the government, decreasing further any chances for corruption, which is already very low in the country, but qualitatively changing the quality of the services to business community. Another direction of the governance reform is inclusive governance, and there we already started with the help of EBRD. We initiated Investor Council, where we have all major international financial institutions. We have leading local business associations, Chamber of Commerce, and also several ministers representing economic bloc of the cabinet. And we are discussing all the important changes in legislation, regulations, and any hot issues upfront in order to avoid negative surprises for the business community, to make the business environment more predictable. We are creating also the similar platform now for civil society and NGOs. I already had several meetings with leading NGO leaders, and we will formalize this format. We already created a similar format for academia and innovations, and now we are in the process to assemble the similar format for political parties, which is probably the most difficult part of it. but we will do that. And third important direction is speeding up of the economic growth, starting from the January 1st of this year. We already abolished the profit tax. We are only taxing dividends now. We initiated a startup financing institution together with the Partnership Fund of Georgia. We invited international leaders with the relevant expertise. We had around 12 Silicon Valley leading CEOs in Georgia. They were here for months, pitching, training local startup entrepreneurs. This was a very successful start of this very important program, not only to finance the dozens of startups in Georgia, which is really, we already have more than 60 startup enterprises, but also, which is more important, to promote entrepreneurial spirit in the young generation. As part of the economic reforms, we are already starting the pension system reform. Third quarter of the next year, we will launch the Pillar 2 pension system, compulsory savings-based pension system, which on one hand will ensure the decent living standards for pensioners in the future, but as an immediate spillover impact, it will generate hundreds of millions of long-term local currency investable resources available for long-term investments. And in order to absorb the resources, we are also launching the the capital market reform. In 1 year from now, local stock exchange will have a link to one of the European platforms. It will be either Warsaw Stock Exchange, Vienna, or London Stock Exchange. We are discussing all options in order to make Georgian securities visible and clearable in global custodian networks by European and global investors and vice versa. This is a fundamental reform that will bring Georgia in a qualitatively new stage, as I said, where Georgia will have viable stock market, Georgia will have local, long-term, local currency resources for investments, and of course, as a major impact of this reform, it will shift the financing burden of pensioners from the sovereign balance to the private sector. The fourth, but also very important, maybe most capital-intensive part of the four-point reform agenda is spatial development, which comprises modernization of infrastructure, fast modernization of infrastructure. We already increased infrastructure spending in this year by around 30%. We are doubling infrastructure spending for the next year. We launched many reforms at once. They are in the stage of pre-feasibility design right now, and from the February, March of the next year, we will be in a position to launch a significant number of the infrastructure projects, and of course this will have tremendous positive impact on the pace of the economic growth. It also encompasses the modernization and further development of irrigation network, electric transmission network, and of course public-private partnerships for co-investment to develop tourist destinations. We have several successful public-private partnerships. These reforms are revolutionary. They are designed for increase the pace of economic growth. They are designed to bring more dynamism, designed to bring more international presence here in Georgia, and first of all, of course, the US presence in Georgia. Georgia's ports are the key for development of Georgia, Georgia's economy, of transit function, and of course, we are very proud that in the process of structuring, I would say that the project which has a, I would say, strategic millennium impact on Georgia's development, This is an Anaklia port project. It will bring American investors. We already have principal investor, New Jersey-based engineering company, Conti Group. We have the largest banking group in Georgia participating as a principal investor, TBC Group. And of course, we are very glad to hear the news about ongoing negotiations to bring large-scale flagship American company as a port operator for this strategic project. And of course, we are open for partnerships from other countries regionally, but we are very glad to have this successful development of this project. Hopefully, we will hear in the nearest future about the closing of these important negotiations for port operator. But we also have, of course, existing ports. This is Poti Port, this is Batumi Port, which are also very important, and they will be complementary to develop Georgia's port capacity, to develop the transit function. And I would like to say that Georgia lies at the intersection of strategic interests of United States. So we welcome more presence of US companies. And again, America-Georgia Business Council has a very important strategic role in bringing more American corporations to Georgia, bringing more American SMEs to Georgia in order to, again, first of all, increase awareness about Georgia in the United States, and also have more American companies at the crossroad between East and West, North and South. This is very important, strategically important. It can bring more jobs, more security, and more connections. And again, I welcome this very important celebration of 20-year anniversary. And of course, now it's time to take this partnership to a qualitatively new level, and again, make Georgia-American relations enduring pillar of regional security and stability, economic development, and democratization of this wonderful country. Thank you very much for being good friends of Georgia. Thank you very much for keeping Georgia going in the right direction. And thank you very much for supporting Georgia in most difficult times. Georgia remembers that, not only government, that the population of Georgia is aware about it, and we cherish this very, very valuable friendship and strategic partnership. Thank you very much.